I've been doing content creation alongside my 9 to 5 for 2 months now, and both my days and my brains were starting to resemble a scattered mess. So last night, I decided to take matters into my own hands and create a system that would seamlessly allow me to create content during my work week. I'm calling it the Content Creation Machine. In this video, I'll walk you through every element of the Content Creation Machine, along with sub-elements and the exact execution methodology that will allow me to seamlessly integrate content creation in my day and achieve my goals. At the end of this video, I'll be sharing my exact calendar that you can steal to make this happen for yourself. Let's jump right in. What do I mean by a system here? Essentially, a set of steps and procedures that would allow me to get the same result every single time. I first want to clarify my objective for this system. So far, I've been feeling like I keep jumping from task to task instead of being actually able to focus on one thing. So like I said, I work full time and I'm creating content. Thankfully, I work from home, so there is some flexibility there. Generally speaking, I can be quite busy during my work hours, and I don't like jumping between tasks. It just doesn't work for my head. In order to further help us narrow down what we need to do, I'm also going to settle down on a cadence. What that means for me is that I intend to create 2 long-form videos every week. I honestly think that's pretty optimistic, along with at least 6 short-form videos. Now, I don't know about other people, but I can't seem to just cut out my long form videos and create short form videos. So I really have to sit down and make them separately. I'm establishing a system, so for me, this is a repeatable, reliable process. In terms of results, I'm looking for consistency, good quality, and professionalism. And obviously, my goal is to grow my channel and build a personal brand. With that out of the way, let's jump into the content creation machine. I'll start with the elements. I have ideas in scripting, filming, editing, uploading, and analytics. Now, just to keep in mind, this isn't all that goes behind a content creation business. There are things like strategy and marketing, but because I'm early on in the business, this is a perfect start for me. Now, I'll go through each of these elements and discuss the sub-elements as well as the exact execution steps. The first is the most important, which is ideas and scripting. Now, to be very fair, I don't sit down and try to come up with ideas. I have a running list on my Notion where I keep writing down ideas as they come to me throughout the day or the week or whenever. However, when it comes to executing those ideas, I could think about whether or not I have a precedence for those kinds of ideas, whether they've worked for me or whether they're purely experimental. Since I'm pretty early on in my journey, this question isn't as relevant for the moment. Moving on to the execution, this is the most important part of this machine for me. In terms of long form video, I need to make sure I have a hook confirmation. I need to establish the video and make it personal, and I need to open a new loop within the first 30 seconds of the video. By the way, I've learned all of this from other YouTube videos, so feel free to check them on your own or follow the guide. However, for short form videos, I need to have hook, credibility, value, and a call to action. I find this slightly easier to do with short form versus long form. However, to be very fair, this is my second long form video on this channel, so perhaps I'll get better with time. Another very important execution parameter for me is to have a sketch of the thumbnail. Whoever works long form knows this is the most important thing, and I have to write this down because I forget. I have written all of this down because I will forget to do one of these steps. So I need to have some idea of what the thumbnail will be. A lot of people suggest that if you don't have a thumbnail and the hook, you shouldn't be working on a video. The second element is likely the hardest because it takes me the longest in terms of execution, and that is actually sitting down to film. I've included all the tools I use for each of these elements in the brackets below. As you can see, I'm only using my iPhone. For the moment, that's all I need. In terms of sub-elements, I need to make sure I get the A roll, which is absolutely essential. Sometimes I need B roll, and for long form, I also need thumbnail. And for that, I use Canva. When I sit down to executing, for the thumbnail in particular, I need at least one photo or video that can function as my thumbnail. I also need some kind of a text, and Occasionally, I might also add additional elements to my thumbnail. The A and B roll, I just have to sit down and film. In terms of my calendar, it's likely filming that will take up most of my time, as you will see towards the end. Next comes editing, and fairly, this might be the most dreaded part of the process. I am personally not a great editor. This is something very new to me, and because of that, I actually forget what I should be doing, which is why you see the list in front of you. So what I intend to add is I need to make sure I have captions. To be honest, I can do it very easily in TikTok, but I still haven't figured out how to do so for my long form videos. Please help me out in the comments if you're actually watching this. I also need to make sure I give some kind of an evidence for what I say. Often I will include screenshots, quotes, or something of that nature. I should be thinking about including music. Most of the time I don't do that, but maybe it's something to consider. And lastly, I definitely need some kind of pan shots or like zooms to capture the audience's attention. Again, normally this is something I forget. We're at the last two steps, and now we're on to uploading. Now, uploading, as you might know, is pretty straightforward. However, it's really important for me and my schedule that I upload as I edit. So I'm going to schedule upload as soon as I'm done editing, because I'm simply not in the headspace during my workday to go back and upload something even. It's hard for me. So this needs to be taken care of while I edit. And lastly, and crucial for growth, is looking at your analytics. Now, of course, I'll be using YouTube and TikTok Studio for this. So I am looking at my performance. I'll be having a look at how my videos are performing, what are the views, likes, engagement, blah, 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 like. However, importantly, I need to make sure I have an idea of how I can improve what I'm doing. Now, since I'm very new, I don't always get this information from my analytics. However, with trial and error, as I gain more data points with the more videos I put out, I hope to be able to improve what I'm doing and learn as I go. Now, this is the full beginner content creation machine that you can use for yourself, literally as a template and a guide if you're starting out creating content. However, for me, the more crucial part is how do I incorporate it in my schedule. Before we jump into the schedule, I have some non-negotiables here. I like to keep a work-life balance. That means weekends I cannot work, and most days I'm not working after 5. So those two are out of question. Now I have to work with pretty much like a 7 a.m. to a 5 p.m. kind of a work routine. And as you can see from my calendar, I am booked from 9 to 5 apart from my lunch break. Another thing I will do for my mental peace of mind is not do content creation on Mondays. This is also one of the days if I don't upload a short form videos, it's okay for me. I generally find the engagement pretty low anyways. So Monday, I'm just going to focus on work. I'll be coming right out of the weekend, and I have some bigger tasks usually on Monday to focus on before I jump into the rest of the week. Now I have basically 2 time slots to work with for my content creation. Most importantly, like I said, the noon to 1 p.m. lunch break is when I'm actually doing most of the work. However, I will also be using some mornings for some other content creation work. Let's film my lunch breaks from Tuesday to Friday. So I generally find it's slightly easier to film on Tuesdays, again, because of my schedule. So I will be trying to batch film on Tuesday and potentially also on Thursday. On Wednesdays and Fridays, I need to fit in both editing and scheduling. Like I previously mentioned, it is really crucial for me to schedule upload as I go. Now we have checked off 2 of the elements, actually 3 of the elements. From my 5-element content creation machine, we're still left with 2. The most important is ideas and scripting. My peak capacity is generally in the morning, so I will be using my morning time before work for ideas and scripting. I am scheduling Tuesdays and Thursdays for both ideas and scripting. This is, to be honest, the meat of the work, and because I need to be very creative, energetic, I'm gonna get this out of the way first thing in the morning. As you can see, I've also scheduled some time for analytics on Wednesdays and Fridays. Now this does not take me as long, again, because I don't have that much information yet. However, I plan to take a few minutes on these particular mornings to look at my analytics, see what's working, what's not working, what to change, and how to proceed. There you have it. In this video, I gave you the exact content creation system designed for beginner content creators so that you can establish a repeatable, replicable process from start to finish. And I am sharing with you my exact calendar that will allow me to actually do all of the work that is required of me to do in order to establish a brand. Let me know any thoughts and questions of what more you would like to know. I'm generally a very system-oriented person. I have a system for everything, and I'm happy to talk more about it if interested. And see you in the next one. Bye-bye.